Mike Granger.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, not teabag.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How's the trip up here?
It was pretty.
Yeah?
Yeah, but it's dangerous on these roads to look at the scenery while you're driving
Yeah.
because it's a lot of twisties, turnies, and if you're not familiar with the twisty turnies, you can't be like, wow, look at that pretty mountain over the lake over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that'll annoy the local fauna.
You got to pay attention.
Yeah.
So, you're a New Hampshire State Representative.
That's right.
And what district do you represent?
Rochester Ward 5, Milton and Milton Mills. That's Stratford District 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
And is this your first term?
No, it's my second term.
This is your second term.
Yeah.
And what got you into politics so much that you wanted to be a state representative?
I was asked.
By who?
I think it was Stephen Nass. And so basically, I'm minding my own business at my house and called out of the blue, and they asked me if I want to be a state rep. And I'm like, well, I don't want to put Glenn Bailey out of a job. But he said, no. They redistricted. So now there's 2 extra seats in your district, whereas before it was a 1-seat district.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, if literally no one else will take the job, then I'm your man. So, of course, they wrote me down immediately and said I'm the man. And, yeah, it was pretty good. We got Claudine Burnham and Glenn Bailey, and so the 3 of us, we have the best district in the state.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what did you do before that made them want to call you?
I was active in a lot of social clubs and things of that nature.
Political social clubs?
Yeah, and things like that. So, for instance, back in the day, this is back when I lived in New York, mind you, and I'm never going back. I ain't never going back to New York. I was the chair of the Rochester, New York Libertarian Party.
Okay.
This was like a decade ago. And an interesting thing about libertarian parties, they don't work.
No.
They're completely useless. But, I didn't know that at the time, and I learned it pretty quick. And, I was doing that right after I got out of the military. I deployed to Kuwait, and then when I came back, I got involved over there. But no, mostly just talking to people, knowing people in the conservative communities that are around here, and they said they wanted me to do it, so I was like, okay.
How old are you?
What year is it? I'm 35.
35.
Yeah.
So when did you join the military? Were you out of high school?
I think it was 2008, so I was 18.
Okay.
Yeah. It was Army National Guard Infantry, New York Army National Guard. I went down to Benning. That's Sand Hill. They got the infantry school there. That was fun. Got to be hungry and yelled at a lot. Wonderful. But deployed in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, but not to anywhere exciting. I went to Kuwait. That's like, what would be the comparison? That's like if you're going to if you're deploying in support of Vietnam, but you end up stationed in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Except it's not as nice as Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Kuwait. So it's hot and sandy, but no one's shooting at you.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
And how long were you in there for?
It was a 6-year contract, and I did all 6 years, and but there was only one deployment in there, and the rest of it I was just working a regular guy job and all that.
Yeah. And did that help shape your political mindset?
The government's really incompetent in almost everything it does, and the waste was astounding. Have you ever heard of a spendex?
No.
Any of our military veterans, they'll probably know what a spendex is. That's called spending extra. So let's say you're going to a range, and they need a certain amount of ammunition. Let's say it's a qualifying range or something. So everybody needs like 40 rounds of ammo. Multiply that by 2 because they get 1 practice run. And, multiply that by the total number of people in the company. And then people who need to do extra, shoot more than once because they're not a very good shot or whatever. And so, you get some number. Okay, so you can go out with that number, but what if you have extra?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let's say you have 2,000 rounds extra. Well, what they do is they shoot it all off at nothing. All right? And the reason that they do that is so they won't get less next time.
Yeah.
So that's not uncommon, actually, in the public sector. That's basically how, you look at a school budget, they're like, well, we have the money, we better spend it. Well,
it's pretty much how all the public sector works, right?
Yeah, the public sector's not very good at doing stuff. And it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that, made me bitter for a while. I kind of had an anarchist stint for a little bit there because I was like, gosh, they're just awful at everything. I've grown beyond that. I don't think that we should totally get rid of the government, mostly because I don't think it's possible to do that in a way that actually ends up serving anybody. And it would be really convenient for the enemies of liberty to have no organized focal point to resist, and they can just divide and conquer all day. When you think about politics, you kind of have to think about what the enemy will do. And I also work in security now, network technical security. I'm not going to talk much about my employer because I don't want to get them involved, but security is mostly thinking about ways to break something that is well-intentioned. So you have to kind of put yourself in the mindset of the opponent.
Right.
And so if you think of the opponents of a typical conservative, liberty-oriented worldview, a more American mindset, freedom, apple pie, low income taxes, or none preferably, that sort of thing. You have a person that is intent on exploiting any loopholes that you give them. And so we need to have a government in order to prevent them from taking over. And I know that sounds horrible to some because they can think of all sorts of arguments against it, but I'm not used to dealing with fantasy land. I like dealing with what's real. And the government that we have is already taken over and subverted enough. And anything else, it's just moving. It's moving the problem to another place.
So do you think that you were living in Fantasyland before when you were an anarchist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very disillusioned, and I wasn't really an anarchist, but I had an anarchist stint. I had some sympathies for them because they made. And nowadays, there's some anarchists out there that say that they're anarchists, like that Michael Malice fella. He's an interesting guy. People seem to like him a lot. And there's also that Dave Smith fella who had an influence on many things, and he claims to be an anarchist. And there's some interesting theories that they have, but ultimately the mistake that they're making is the same one that the Marxists make, except they do it with the best of intentions. Unlike the Marxists, who are usually just lying and they just want to steal stuff.
Like a utopian vision.
It's not a utopian vision so much as it is something that does not exist and will never exist.
Like utopia, though.
Yeah, but they like to say that they're not utopians.
Yeah,
and so I don't want to say that they're utopians when they don't want to consider themselves as such. But they aren't focused on what's real. They're more focused on some imaginary, illusory conceptualization of this. Well, we'll have like these competing firms, and they'll compete on the market. But the real world isn't that simple.
Well, we have locks on our doors for a reason. We don't want to have to use them, but you kind of have to.
Yep, they're nice to have.
Yeah.
Even if you live in a really nice town. Like, I don't lock my 98 Volkswagen Beetle, but there's nothing in my 98 Volkswagen Beetle worth stealing, and most people can't drive it anyway. But now I've said it on a podcast, and I guess I got to start.
Better start. So would you consider yourself a libertarian still?
No, I'm a Republican.
Yeah.
I think that the best way to preserve the rights of the people is with a Republican form of government.
So what do you think made that transition? How do you think you got to that transition?
I think the recognizing. So let's go back in history.
Yeah.
I gave a similar spiel at Liberty Forum. I was supposed to do a talk or a panel discussion, I should say, with several people, including Senator Brakey and Angela McArdle, who is the chair of the National Libertarian Party, and also Jeremy Olson, who's a good friend of mine and helped us get rid of car inspections. And back in the day, there were Trotskyists. And the thing is, Trotsky didn't like Stalin. They didn't get along very well. And the thing with commies is they eat their own. That's like a characteristic of the left. And all the Trotskyists lost, and they were purged. Right? They started like putting them in camps and whatnot. And some of them came to the United States as refugees.
Trotsky himself, didn't he?
I'm not sure. I don't recall. I can't speak affirmatively on that. But there were a lot of Trotskyists that came to the United States as refugees. And some of those got involved in the GOP after a while. I'm skipping a lot of minutia, but they got involved in the GOP, and what they tried to do was separate the philosophical core of the GOP back in the day from the rest of the party. There was, it takes a whole bunch of different sort of people to make a functioning party apparatus or an effective political unit. You need some philosopher types, and you need some people who are just really good at organizing people, good people that are good at, communicating, and people who make graphics. Everybody has a little thing that they can bring to the table. But if you take the philosophical core people, like the people who obsess over old literature and who study history and care a lot about making everything consistent and neat, and they have a tendency to have a purity complex. And what that means is they don't want to injure themselves or demean themselves by actively participating with the imperfect. So the Trotskyists use this nature of people with purity complexes to inspire some of the paleoconservatives that were in the old GOP to separate themselves from the GOP because the GOP was just too communist. And in their defense, the paleoconservatives, in their defense, they were right. The GOP was taking a bit of a commie bend. But removing the paleoconservatives from that basically left a hole that the Trotskyists could just fill in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you get the Bush years. Take a couple decades after that, we have a GOP that is entirely taken over by nationalist socialists. And they have international ambitions, but they're in favor of nationalizing all these organizations, getting the military all riled up, so they can start invading the world in the Middle East and all that. And they did a big job of it, I suppose. But those paleocons, a lot of them joined up with some disillusioned liberals because a similar sort of phenomenon was happening in the Democrats. And that's where the Libertarian Party came from. And that's where the term libertarian came from. People say it was the French Revolution. Those are different. Those are commies. Those don't count. We're in America. We don't worry about Europe as much here. It's one of the best features of America.
So what year are we in when we're talking about this?
This was during the Vietnam War.
70s.
Yeah, right around there. But it was a slow process. So if you look at the timing of when the Libertarian Party was actually founded, like Nozick and all them, shortly thereafter, they kind of took over the brand of the Puritan. Not like the religious sense, like the people who came over here and colonized New England Puritan. I mean, like the more pure-hearted, classically conservative sort of viewpoint. And that also explains a couple things that are interesting. So libertarians like to say that they're neither left nor right. Yet they are always consistently, if they're aligning with anybody, they're aligning with the right. Isn't that a little weird? It's almost as though that was where they came from. They like to say, well, we're classical liberals. Well, yeah, that's a good thing to sort of convince yourself. But I don't think it really holds out. There's a small amount of that in there. But, that's... But that brings, to wrap that back to the main point, which is why I believe in a Republican form of government. If you have a dividable and conquerable opponent, the smaller you separate them out, the easier it is to do. So how would you let's just put ourselves in a scenario. Let's say we're tasked with conquering Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get American states out of the picture. Europe is made up of a bunch of little different countries. They have some union or whatever. How would you go about it?
Break them up.
Break them up. That's how you would do it. To go after, I don't know, find the easiest one. Sweden's probably a cakewalk if you're, I don't know. Just thinking of countries. What's the easiest country in Europe to invade? But you break them up. If you get them to start bickering among each other, then you can roll on through. And I think that's what would happen if we had the anarcho-capitalist vision. If you had competing justice systems or whatever that were like doing, it would just be easily taken over by some sort of nefarious person. Because the sort of person who would want to take over the system and destroy it is the same sort of person that is and is capable, is the last person that you want running the world that you're living in after the fact. You take so let's say you had such a system, like some Friedmanite whatever. The person who is capable and willing to get rid of that system entirely and impose their will is almost assuredly going to be worse than the U.S. government, just by the nature of the beast, because the U.S. government just happens to be one of the unique outliers of Republican governance throughout human history.
Seems like it's been a goal to demonize the government, because I think that I probably had a very similar transformation from when I was young to today, where at one point I considered myself a libertarian, but further back I was more liberal. And I probably am fairly liberal on some social issues, but I do believe in a Republican form of government. I think it's the best form of government to protect the rights of the individual. And what do you think is the biggest threat right now to America?
America.
Yeah.
Especially given recent events, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the United States can be conquered by the globalists. I think the globalists really had a good try of it. They really gave it a good whack.
At what point?
Oh, at various, they were not. It's not a point. It's a time period. But we had our unipolar moment, and the thing. So talking about globalists, what is a globalist? If you could define a globalist, what would you say?
Globalization of government?
Okay, and isn't that just a fancy way of saying trying to take over the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just what it is. And they gave it a go in the United States, and they're sort of Fabian. They go slowly, Bad guys do that. But they didn't really succeed, and it really blew up in their faces. And a couple years ago, it was pretty dark, but I think we're on the mend. And now the biggest threat to American security is the American people, which aren't going to get along and seem to be fighting a lot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
How do you think it looks in New Hampshire?
Oh, it's better here because we're just a safer place. Mm-hmm. It's I put a house under contract recently, and in my letter to the seller I wrote, I like this house because it's the best house in Milton Mills, and Milton Mills is the best town in New Hampshire, and New Hampshire is the best state in the United States, and the United States is the best country in the world. Mm-hmm. And so that's sort of how I kind of view it. New Hampshire is the best state in the country. I don't know that there's anyone in second place. New Hampshire is wonderful, but New Hampshire still needs to be protected.
Yeah.
Because there are still threats that you can't have, a nice little, comfy little island in the middle of the United States, the most powerful country in the world, without somebody trying to destroy it. So you got to be on guard. And I think the New Hampshire Democrats are the biggest enemy of the people of New Hampshire and their prosperity. And I do what I can to try to void their plans, as all of us should do. Try to stop evil.
Now, do you think it's an authoritarian mindset that they have? That is.
No, I think they're demonically possessed for the most part.
And what makes you believe that?
It's hard to explain, but I guess people recently got a dose of it with the Charlie Kirk assassination.
I think so.
It's like that in the State House almost every time we're in session. It isn't obvious from the outside. You don't get it from the videos, but if you're in the room with them, you can tell. There's some good Democrats, but in the main, like on the whole, they're nuts. They're crazy. And
what would be an example of it for people that are listening? This probably won't come out for a couple of weeks, but obviously we all know about the assassination.
Yeah.
And I know that it's probably one of the first events in a long time where everybody saw it.
It was right there. Yeah.
It was right there. Everybody's seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I didn't see it. But the next wave of it, the shocking part was seeing people celebrate it. And I don't know if there was I don't really remember a lot of that with 9/11, because that was another national tragedy where you saw people die. I think the difference between the two is that all the people that you saw die, you didn't know them on a personal level. You didn't know their names. You couldn't recognize their face. With Charlie Kirk, you could.
And you also, I don't recall people celebrating the 9/11 terror attacks in the United States.
But we also didn't have the internet like we do today.
Well, we had an internet, not like we do today.
Yeah.
I do remember a lot of American flags, and
there was a lot more unity then.
Yeah.
After
we were like a real country or something.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that because we are a real country,
But it seems like we're always on the verge of being fractured.
Yeah. No, it's because I think of it like this, right? So, what do all the Germans have in common?
What?
They're all German.
Mm-hmm.
And what do the Japanese? They all have in common.
We're all Japanese.
Yeah. So, what defines an American?
We'd all be American.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Hmm.
We don't have a common history. We don't no common culture. I mean, when you think of Germany, what do you think of? Well, they got pretzels, they got beer, they got sausages and BMWs and really fast highways and things like that. But when you think of what a German is the sort of person you would expect to live in Germany. But we're all very different in the United States.
We have our Bill of Rights.
Yeah, we got that.
That's very unique for the world.
Yeah, but but that's not like, something that unites us all. I mean, a lot of Americans don't seem to care at all about it. They think that the very first amendment of the Bill of Rights is it a catastrophe.
It gives us a right to fight.
Yeah, to argue with each other and bicker.
Yeah.
Which is important. We need to bicker. It's
Yeah.
important. But I think the only thing that we really had in common back in the day, the one thing that united us was that we were a Christian nation.
Yeah.
And I don't think we might come back to being a Christian nation, but I don't think it's safe to say that we are a Christian nation.
It is gaining popularity. That's a good sign.
Well, he is a shepherd.
So going back to the biggest threat that we have, you said is the Democrats. And basically what you brought up as an example was what we saw in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
The division. I mean, I know that there's been people I've seen that I've kind of separated myself from because it's kind of messed up it's really messed up to celebrating. I mean, I can't imagine somebody can't see that video and kind of have some sort of humanization to the fact that this was a father, a husband. There's children that don't have their dad anymore. There's a wife that's, doesn't have her husband anymore. And then to say, yeah, I don't condone that, but, these are the things that I didn't agree about. I'm like, I don't know. It's such a weird time, I feel like.
It is, but I think I was pondering on this, and I'm not going to tie myself to this as an anchor. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I suspect that Twitter being uncensored has a lot to do with these changes that we're seeing. I believe that most website moderators or content for social media website running admin types, they naturally delete the gory details and they make sure people don't have access to it. And it's easy to pretend that stuff doesn't exist if you're not seeing it.
CNN just put out an article calling for that, more moderation.
Interesting. Maybe I'm right.
And the reason why is because they're saying that the right is being radicalized by it.
By the truth?
Right. That was
by things that actually happen?
Right.
Yeah, it's when was this? Is this still the case? It used to be the case that it was considered wrong or somehow immoral to show a flag-draped casket on TV or in newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
And the origin of that is the Vietnam War, when bloody horror was being transmitted over the television sets. And what did that do? That got people riled up against the war.
Yeah, I think the New York Times are the first ones to publish pictures of caskets coming home.
Yeah.
And you weren't supposed to do that back then, and that was one of the big turning points.
Yeah, because it's easy to be in favor of a war if it's over there and you don't have to actually look at the consequences of such things.
Mm-hmm.
But Twitter being less censored than it used to be is part of the cause of that. I think that's a contributing factor to this turnabout. I
think we're seeing a big wave of people being held accountable for their words after the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Yeah, and I'm of two minds on that. One, I don't want to equate words with violence.
Right.
I think that's a fundamentally false statement.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fundamentally leftist statement as well. But at the same time, there's a reap what you sow element. They do think that words are violence.
They do.
And they said that Charlie Kirk they're glad that he's dead. And he's like, oh, let's do Elon Musk next or whatever. and they're playing. It's their rules. Like, okay,
We've seen this before where conservatives have been silenced for things that they've said, and
I will say this: the right wing was it was very hard to get them along with cancel culture because we're naturally opposed to going after people in such ways.
Do you support cancel culture?
It is what it is. I'm just here to observe. I'm not here to provide moral judgment on the matter. I will say that it's objectively factual that the right seems to be better at it. I don't remember there ever being a time where the left was capable of getting as many people as the right has gotten fired. They would go after one person. They would isolate one specific target, and then they would go after that and then make a big show about it and toot their horns and say, we succeeded. Whereas the right is like, well, they got like 500 people fired already, and they're like counting, and they're like
20,000 people on one website. And supposedly it's going to be launching of comments around the Charlie Kirk assassination.
You got to hand it to them. They're well organized. They don't like getting. I'll say this about the right. The right doesn't like getting organized because they're more. We have jobs.
Yeah.
And we have things to do.
Yeah.
And we don't necessarily want to get involved.
We want to live our lives and be left alone.
Exactly. And if you eer get into a point where you're inspiring the right to get organized and engage in activism, you messed up. Because and they're highly successful.
Well, after Trump lost the 2020 election,
allegedly,
yeah, they were talking about putting out lists of conservatives.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so this is their own game being played against them.
Yep.
And thankfully, Elon Musk does own Twitter, because now there's that tool available for everybody to see, and I don't even think there's a whole lot of censorship going on Facebook these days.
I don't know. I don't have a Facebook account.
No?
They won't let me make an account.
Oh, you're blacklisted for life?
No, they said you got to install the app, and then you got to open up your camera, and you got to take a video of you doing this.
What did you do?
I didn't do that. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not installing your app.
But what did you get for them to do that?
Nothing. I just made an account. And
did you ever have an account?
Yeah, back like years ago. But that was years and years. I gave it up like I don't remember when, because Facebook's not an interesting website anymore.
They
really.
got your picture up on the wall somewhere.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Like this guy. That was before I had a beard, though, so
Well, AI can do good things with do amazing things.
I suppose
with identification.
Yeah, it really helped out with that photo
of the shooter.
Yeah. It looked nothing like him. The AI enhanced one.
And that's another thing. They're all over the place as far as.
This is going to come out in a couple weeks. You said.
Things. Whatever we know now is going to be completely different in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I remember. So this is the 12th that we're recording this.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
13th.
Oh man. Okay. Man, time flies. And so it's been like only a hand. It's like been less than a week, and the amount of internet sleuthing over who done it, and only to find out that the guy was totally different. Am I correct? Is I don't recall any of the Twitter posts being about this guy in particular. It was all about some other person.
There were 3 different people that were caught and let go, I think, before they even put this guy's picture out.
Oh, okay. But I just recall the picture coming out and people using the AI to recreate the photo.
That is true. Yeah.
And then like the actual video comes out and they have him and all that, and it's like, he looks nothing like that whatsoever. Well, okay, like superficially
made
similar.
Him look a lot older.
Yeah. It's like, come on.
So what do you think of the rise of AI recently and where it's going?
I don't know. We're I think there's some troubling concepts by it. We're a species that invents and then gets enslaved by our own inventions, so we should probably be worried about that.
It's going to dumb us down, probably.
Yeah, don't rely on it, but at the same time, it's good at doing a lot of research all at once. I don't know. I don't know. That's all I can say. I don't know. It is what it is.
So some of the legislation that you have sponsored, probably the biggest one, is you're one of the people responsible for getting rid of inspection stickers.
Put that on my gravestone, by the way. Very happy about myself for that. But it wasn't me.
How long have you lived in New Hampshire for?
I don't know. 2014?
2015. So I think that's probably a little after they got really strict with inspection stickers, because at one point you only had to pass like a safety inspection. You didn't have to do anything with the
Emissions.
And then once that came up, like, you had to spend hundreds of dollars just to get a check engine light off, even though your car ran fine.
Yeah, that was... The problem was that the legislature abandoned its job to the administrative rules. So basically, we gave so much authority to the commissioner to adopt rules on safety inspections that the Auto Dealers Association didn't have to actually bother lobbying and convincing the legislature that a specific check was a good idea. They could just convince the bureaucrats.
Oh.
And that meant that they could do things like, well, if you have an LED array headlight and one of those LEDs is out, then it's not good. You can't pass. Or, stuff like that. Actually, one of my favorites was a guy had a Jeep Wrangler, and he put an aftermarket roof rack on the top with like 4 headlights.
Yeah.
But he didn't wire it up by the time the inspection time came because, that's a different project for another weekend. And they failed him for that.
Really?
Because the bulbs on his...
Because they were out?
No, they weren't working because they weren't wired in.
Right.
But that's not even part of the original vehicle.
Right. You just need...
It's like... Yeah, it was stuff like that. Honestly, I just had never passed an inspection the first time around. Like, it was like always something, and most of the, like, I remember one time it was like, okay, I know there's this thing wrong with the vehicle. All right, there's like a sway bar linkage or something like that, and they were like, yeah, the sway bar linkage, and also we found this totally unrelated thing, and it was like, no, that's not a problem at all. You're lying to me about that. But a good one is metal on metal. Your brakes are metal on metal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's easy to do brakes at your home.
Mm-hmm.
So you take off your brakes and you look at your disc and you're like, is there metal on metal at all? What are they talking about? They're fine. They have another at least 10,000 miles on them.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It was fun. Glad to get rid of those.
So with that being passed, what were some of the... So for people that are worried about having junkers on the road,
mm-hmm.
What are the actual statistics on accidents caused by...
Oh, gosh, I flushed all this information once it was signed. If I recall correctly, this is using testimony from Brian Chase, who is a vehicle forensicist who used to run the New Hampshire State Inspection Program. He started working in the private sector as like vehicle crash expert and forensicist. And he says that of the thousands of car crashes that they have inspected, 4 were the accident was caused by a component failure. Now I'm trying to go off of memory here.
Mm-hmm.
If you look
That's
up
fine.
Brian Chase's testimony, the numbers might be a little different. Suffice to say, it's less than 0.5% of vehicle accidents are caused by actual component failure. Now, that number looks higher if you look at people who claim component failure. It's something like 2%, I want to say. So of the accidents that exist, 2% are claimed to be by component failure. And I can't imagine why anybody would lie and say that their brakes failed after they rear-ended somebody.
Probably because they weren't paying attention.
Maybe. Potentially, I don't know.
How many? So we're one of many states now that don't even have inspections, too.
Yeah, we don't. After January 31st, we won't have any safety inspections. September 31st, which isn't a real day, we will get rid of the emissions inspections.
Oh.
That's going to be interpreted as the last day in September.
Okay.
According to the regulators, so that's good. I didn't put in that typo. They put in that typo.
How does that apply to commercial vehicles?
It doesn't. That's all federal.
That's all federal.
Yeah.
So if
it also doesn't apply to school buses. That's different.
So those all still have to get inspected.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think is there anybody you at home? Do you want to die on the hill of making sure we don't inspect school buses?
Right.
I'm good on that. You can inspect them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very meager cost.
Well, same thing with box trucks and,
Yeah,
and tractor trailers.
Well, that's commercial, federal.
Right.
So,
and a lot. Tires fly off at tractor trailers all the time too.
I thought the inspections would prevent that.
I would hope so, but a lot of people try to sneak through them the best I can. So I did see that there's some New Hampshire police. They're trying to ask for some sort of law to be able to pull people over. And so how does that work now? Because I know that some people are worried that if they don't have an inspection sticker, they're going to get pulled over anyways. Is that
we'll see
the case?
Now, you're asking a question about the future. And the thing with the future is it hasn't happened yet. I don't know that they're going to get that.
Okay.
I think that they already have the tools to stop the big problems.
And what is that?
Fix-it tickets.
Fix-it tickets.
Fix-it tickets.
I've never heard of fix-it tickets.
Well, if your headlight out, you get pulled over, you get a ticket. You say,
Okay.
hey, you got to fix it. And if you don't fix it, you got to pay a fine.
Okay.
But if you do fix it, then you're fine.
Okay.
So you either have to pay a fine or you are fine.
Mm-hmm.
Choice is yours. These is already something that they have.
Yeah.
I think they call them something other than fix-it tickets, but people call them fix-it tickets. So.
Mm-hmm. So aside from the inspection stickers, what other kind of legislation have you had passed that you've worked on?
I usually forget them once they pass.
I know. I keep hearing that.
Like,
I'm not a state
know.
rep, so I'm from somebody that's not a state rep. If I was sponsoring a bill, I feel like I'd be more into it. But I've had quite a few in here now, and when I ask them that question, they're like, I don't remember.
Well, one of them was to district Stratford County for the election of county commissioners. That's the one that comes to mind. And that one passed. There was so basically every county in the state is divided into 3 different sections.
Okay.
And those sections each elect their own county commissioner. At the time, it was except Stratford County. And the logic behind that was when the commissioner districts were set up originally, the entirety of Stratford County was served by one newspaper. And that's a little obsolete in this modern day and age when we all have Twitter and newspapers aren't really read for anything other than, what to do in the Lakes region. So we did get rid of that, and we districted Stratford County for the election of county commissioners. And that got us one commissioner who was a Republican instead of a Democrat. Great.
Yes.
In a county that's only slightly more Democrat than it is Republican, it seems fair that we should have at least one Republican county commissioner. And then you have one rough district that's like, it could go either way, and then one solid Dem district. That's just fair. What else did I do? Oh, I did do the Sig Sauer bill this year, but that was that became the Sig Sauer bill after the fact.
That was where they can't be sued?
Yes. It didn't start that way. So it started as getting rid of the local license for firearms dealers. So let's say you wanted to open up a gun store.
Yeah.
And under the old system, you would have to not only get your federal firearms license, but you would have to actually get permission from the Board of Selectmen in Effingham or whatever you guys have to open up a gun store. And so this was basically a bill just to repeal that requirement. But it was a gun bill. And then Sig Sauer got into the trouble that they were getting into, and I wasn't really part of the conversation, so you can fill in the blanks and how exactly they went. But the Senate decided to amend it to add the Sig Sauer language into my bill. And I read the language, and it seemed kosher to me. And the reason I say that is there was a lot of media that came after this bill and said, this is immunity for Sig Sauer. Kicking your table, moving around. It was not. It was not immunity to Sig Sauer at all. What it really was is simply saying that a manufacturer cannot be sued for not having an external safety or a blade safety or having a digital electronic safety system or whatever. That's not the legalese. But the basic concept was that if a firearm manufacturer sells a pistol that does not have an external safety, they can't be sued for that. They have to be sued for something else. Now, it does say that if it's a manufacturer defect, so if there's a problem with the trigger sphere that causes it to just, drop the hammer whenever you breathe on it, then they can still be sued for that. But for external features and safeties, no. The media picked that up and ran with it, saying that we were giving immunity to Sig Sauer. They were wrong. So, but yeah, that was a fun bill. Senate made it better. Good job, Senate.
Does that happen often?
People give the Senate a lot of headache, but the Senate's not that bad. Their job is to slow things down, and their job is to be more careful. And it is annoying when you want things to go fast that you have a moderator installed on your engine. But the Senate, they're fickle and sometimes they're very headache-inspiring, but the House can be like that too. They do sometimes improve things. So, for instance, in the budget, they added some stuff that made the budget better. So we got to take the good with the bad. You got to work with the people you got. You got to work with the team you have. The Senate Republicans, they're the team we have, and I'm happy to work with them.
Have you been down to Concord recently?
Yeah, I was there the other day for a Charlie Kirk candlelight vigil organized by Senator Sullivan.
Was that last night?
No, that was the one prior.
Oh.
Yeah, there was one last night as well. I believe that one was, I don't know exactly how that one was set up, but I understand it had a pretty good showing.
Yeah.
It was good.
I've seen some of the videos.
Yeah, I went to the private, more exclusive one the night prior.
Yeah. Yeah.
The more the better.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I hope things change for the better after this.
Yep,
and
we can hope.
That people do start kind of toning down. I mean, I don't think that there's. I don't like that they keep saying that we need to tone down the rhetoric on both sides, because I don't really see. I don't see the rhetoric on the right that calls for labeling the left as Nazis, as fascists, but the behavior that we've seen in the last 10 years. I was just talking to my wife about this, is that I remember when Donald Trump first announced that he was running, somebody shared something on Facebook that was like an app, or it was a like in-app thing that you could click on, and it would let you know who on your Facebook friends list who follows Donald Trump, so you could delete them. That was like as soon as he started. So as soon as he came out and said he was running, that's the type of thing that you saw.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just gotten worse since then, obviously.
I have bad news for you.
What?
I do not have an optimistic viewpoint for the next year or two.
Now, what is your viewpoint for the next year or two?
Have you ever heard of a saculum?
Saculum.
Saculum.
What is that?
That's the length of a long human life. It's about 80 to 100 years.
To fourth turning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about that. The anniversary of the end of the Civil War was August 20th of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And you know when it happened?
The end of the Civil War?
Yeah, how many years ago it was, I should say?
160 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
World War II ended 80 years ago.
Yeah.
What's 80 times 2?
160 years.
What happens if you add 80 to 160?
240.
Okay. And if you have 240, you know what happened 242 years ago?
A revolution.
The revolution happened.
Yeah.
So if this trend continues, when's the next big hubbub?
Right now.
Right now. And so until I see that the left is actually better, I don't hold out hope that this is going to be stopping. I think it's just going to get worse. But the thing is, they didn't know about this pattern 80 years ago. And they didn't know about this pattern 160 years ago. We're living in the future. We have this pattern. We know that every 80 years, going back for a very long time, every 80 years, humans get into big wars. And the World War II, that was a big war. The Civil War, that was the biggest war in American history. Maybe if we know about it, we can just skip it. Wouldn't that be nice?
How do we do that?
I don't know. I don't think anyone's ever tried. And so your idea is as good as mine. I think that there's some concepts that you can pretty much throw away. I don't think it's a good idea to start bombing people. That probably wouldn't be conducive to ending the war. or preventing it or skipping it. We could appeal to the left's better judgment. I don't know if that'll work, but we could try.
What does that look like?
I don't know. Like saying, hey, why don't you guys try being nicer?
Mm-hmm.
Will they do it? I don't know. I doubt it. But at the same time, you don't want to just accept it and just say, okay, well, I guess we're going to have a big war now. Time to go.
Right.
Look at the clock. It's time to fight. So I suspect, and I could be wrong about this, I suspect that how it will start happening is that the right will be demanding justice righteously.
Right.
They have every right to demand justice from the government, whose job is to provide justice. Now, the thing about the way the justice system works in the United States is it's intentionally slow because it's careful and it doesn't want to make mistakes. We have a constitution that was written in such a way as to try to prevent the government from accidentally, just going nuts and killing the wrong people, or we have due process and all that jazz. If the justice is put out by the government is not as fast as the people want it to be appearing, they might start taking matters into their own hands. And that's when you start having guerrilla fighters and all that jazz. And who are they going to be fighting? I don't know. Maybe people who said bad things about Charlie Kirk. I don't know. But we'll have to see. I don't know. It's in the future. It hasn't happened yet. All I can do is predict.
The Oklahoma City bombing, that was in 1995, and Timothy McVeigh was executed in 2001. So that's actually kind of...
It'd take a while.
A lot of people sit on death row for 20 years.
Yeah.
They did expedite that, I would say.
And 6 years is expediting it.
Yeah.
This is it's something that we just have to hope that people are patient, and we have to hope that people don't forget, and that it actually happens. And...
Well, this positive. The positive thing to look at is, all right, Charlie Kirk's brutally murdered in front of the world, right? Mm-hmm. And there's just a big presence on social media of people that are celebrating it. But people on the right, they haven't resorted to violence yet. I mean, we've seen candlelight vigils that have been very peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Where, look at the other side of the coin, and when George Floyd was killed,
TVs went on sale for some reason.
Yeah,
everyone had one.
Everyone had one, but yeah, there were riots in the street.
Yeah,
and that was downplayed too. Obviously,
it was fiery, but mostly peaceful.
Mostly peaceful protests. We're not seeing that right now. And I think that could be very telling for people. I think that there are a lot of people that were kind of in the middle that don't want to be associated with the people on the left that are celebrating the death of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that while people are kind of thinking that this is probably the beginning of some sort of fourth turning, I don't think that Americans really want to kill each other.
I don't think so either.
I think that there might be forces that want Americans to go and kill each other.
Definitely.
What forces those are, I don't know, but
I wouldn't want to comment.
There's definitely a connection between the people that were promoting all the COVID, lockdowns, the vaccine mandates, the mask mandates, and the people that are commenting on Charlie Kirk dying and saying he deserved it.
Mm-hmm. I will say this. I thought that we were at the beginning of the turning right around 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about as good a time as any to start saying, hey, look at what's going on in the world.
You can't go to church anymore.
It's illegal.
They're locking. You can't go to work.
You can go get booze, though. I mean, that's
yeah.
Fine. But if it is the case that after this, we're going to tell everyone to fire all the people who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death.
Those people are going to be bitter.
Yeah, and then well, let's say that they analyzed their life collectively and like, gosh,
Maybe I
I
should
really
have said
messed
that.
up. If this is the end of the turning, we got off easy.
Oh, yeah.
We got off super fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because how many Americans died in World War II?
600,000.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I'm going to trust you on that.
Yeah.
All right. And how many died in the Civil War?
About 600,000.
No, I think it was more than that.
Maybe.
I
could be wrong.
I don't know the number.
Yeah.
So let's just say it's a lot. We didn't have nearly that level of bloodshed in this turning, if it is the end of the turning.
Yeah.
So, maybe there's some case of optimism there, but I don't suspect that they're going to get better.
Now, is this turning global, or is it?
I think. I think that it wasn't. I think that this was they could have different turnings in different areas, and then World War II kind of synced them all up.
Yeah.
So now they're basically on the same page because we had something called in Europe called the Long Peace. It's like 95 years of them not killing each other.
When was that?
That was in the 1800s. It ended by World War II or World War I.
World War I.
So basically, you go from the French Revolution to World War I. There weren't any great power conflicts. So there were still wars, but no great power conflicts.
The Crimean War was what, the 1860s?
I don't know. Are there any of the Crimeans great powers?
No.
That's.
But I think that was between.
It's not saying that that's not a war that you should count or something like that, but the Great Peace is mostly referring to great power wars like France, Britain, Germany, people that are major economic players, like going into a full wartime economy.
Yeah, because that would have been after the French and Indian War, the Revolution.
Yeah.
All that kind of started settling down.
Yeah. Now, America did have in 1860-ish the Civil War, that was a great power conflict.
Yeah.
Because we were a great power at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Were we? I don't know. But
we had the largest GDP then.
Well, we're the country that matters now.
We're always the country that matters.
Yeah, we're the country that matters, and and that was a big deal for us. Therefore, the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, more or less, I think they're largely in sync now.
Yeah.
What's interesting is the actual cause of this. I think it's mostly because the GI generation is gone, and so basically we have no one to anchor us to the last big toss about, and therefore we just don't know what war is like.
Young people today never met World War II vets, I don't think. If they did, they never heard stories from them. That's crazy. Did you know any growing up?
Yeah, I knew Bill.
Bill? Who's Bill?
He was an old World War II vet that we hung out with our kindergarten or first grade class because that was his. They did this thing at my school where they got the children to hang out with like nursing home patients, and Bill was our guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was great.
Yeah. I had a lot of family members that were World War II and Korea, and I mean they all would tell us when we were young, don't join the military.
Smart.
Yeah, but they saw some stuff.
Yeah,
it was. But that like you're saying, that generation's gone. People forget about war.
Yeah, well, I think that watching some poor girl get stabbed in the neck, that
infuriated a lot of people.
Yeah. If people don't know what that looks like, then it's just because if I just say, oh, some girl got stabbed in the neck on the subway, it doesn't really incite a reaction. But if you see the video, then it does.
So what made you want to join the military?
I was broke. I was living in I'm not from New York City. I'm from Western New York, which is mostly farms. And I didn't have a driver's license, and I lived like 20 miles away from the nearest business that would hire me. The 2008 financial crisis just happened, and so I'm competing with investment bankers for the jobs that are available at supermarkets and whatnot. And and yeah, I'm less qualified than them.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I need a job, so I joined the military.
Okay. And do you regret doing it, or you?
No, for one reason, the VA loan.
Okay.
It's worth it for the VA loan, for home loans. You hear me? The VA home loan. that is the number one. I think I got a lot out of it. So for instance, it made me tougher, and that's good. That's something you can get out of it. That's not much of a payment, but it's there. You can learn discipline. That's very important, and there's no one on this planet that would be that wouldn't be better off with more discipline. But other than that, the other actual like non-personality related benefits that I got out of it was the 10% discount at Lowe's and the VA home loan. Those are great. Zero down. Zero down. The closing costs kill you, but
Really?
yeah, but zero down.
Yeah. What kind of rates you get?
Oh, it's my first house was like 3.5%, but that was November of 2019, so
yeah.
but it's a little different now.
What? So you joined the military, you got out of the military, and then what do you do from there?
No, I just.
How'd you make it to New Hampshire?
Oh, I had to escape.
You had to escape.
No,
You wanted man?
I was working in for a company that did access control security systems and whatnot, and then I got hired by another company out of Maine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really that interesting, to be honest, like my actual history and stuff, though. So it's a pretty boring story of me getting a new job in Portland, Maine, or Scarborough, Maine, and choosing to live in Rochester, New Hampshire, which is I remember actually. I was checking out places, and they have something like the Zombie Walk or something.
The Zombie Walk. Oh, that was down in Portland, right?
No, this was in Rochester.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking for an apartment because I just got the job, and I got like a month to find an apartment.
They still do that down there?
Yeah, at the time, I think they still do.
Because The Walking Dead was big, I think.
Yeah, well, it's kids dressed up like zombies, and it's like a Halloween thing. And I was like, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen. This is awesome. And they got like community events, and the kids actually do it. Because I was coming from Rochester, New York, which is the worst Rochester. Like, it's not as good a Rochester as the Rochester, New Hampshire. But, yeah, it was nice. And, so we moved up here and brought the wife on over, and here we are. And, people may say, well, you're a carpetbagger. You're a carpetbagger coming from New York. And it's like, well, I can't choose where I was born. I didn't want to be born in New York, but I tell you what, I'm going to die in New Hampshire.
So do you consider yourself a free stater?
Yeah, it depends on. I've heard so many different definitions.
Are you an accidental free stater? Or?
Well, I was aware of the Free State Project at the time.
But it's not your motivation to come here.
Well, I don't want to pigeonhole myself as saying like, oh, I am a free stater or anything like that. I think the Free State Project is very interesting and neat, and that we definitely need reinforcements.
Yeah.
To keep New Hampshire as wonderful as it is. We are surrounded by people who would love to see this place become Connecticut. So, and we don't want to be Connecticut. We like being New Hampshire. New Hampshire is wonderful. And so the Free State Project is tactically very useful to the end of keeping New Hampshire sane and beautiful.
Did you live in Maine at all?
No.
No, you'd moved right to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maine used to be very similar to New Hampshire, but it's not anymore.
Hey, at least they got constitutional carry.
They do.
I don't have to worry about like fishing for a license every time I accidentally take the wrong turn out of Costco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court's supposed to be hearing a case between New Hampshire and Massachusetts, I believe, about...
I'm on Team New Hampshire.
I am too.
What's it about?
Concealed carry.
Oh, I'm definitely... Oh, yeah, that's the one that the AG is on.
Yeah.
I don't know the details, but I'm on Team New Hampshire. Go get them.
I wonder if we'll win that.
I hope we do.
That might change things across the country.
Well, it would. Yeah. Whenever you have states versus states, I think it was like the last time we had like a serious... one of those like that I would remember at least is the Lobster War.
I don't remember that.
No, the Lobster War was when I'm going off of memory here. I want to say that Maine started arresting New Hampshire lobstermen for getting lobster on the Maine side of the line. But like you drop a lobster pot and it drifts.
Which isn't hard if you drop it off in New Hampshire.
Yeah, so it's like and So then the New Hampshire governor, what was his name? How do I now remember his name? Anyway, he started arresting like Maine lobstermen. And it was like, we're going to have a lobster war. And then it went to the Supreme Court, and they had to like redraw the line and say, okay, this side's good, this side's bad. Yeah, if you look it up, lobster war. Yeah, put up New Hampshire. Yeah, there we go. The legacy of the New Hampshire-Maine lobster war.
The term lobster war is not consistently reduced. 1970s U.S.-Canadian border. No.
That's not it. The first article looked fine. NHPR, but you can forgive them for this. They're probably at least going to give you a good gist.
New Hampshire lobstermen clashed with Maine game wardens in the 1970s over lobster fishing in the area around the Isles of Shoals. The dispute escalated when a New Hampshire lobsterman was found with lobsters that did not meet Maine's stricter size requirements. The conflict was spurred by different lobster regulations in each state. For example, at the time, Maine's regulations on lobster size were more restricted than New Hampshire's. Maine also had residency requirement for its licenses. Decades-old informal agreement between the states for managing the fishing area fell apart due to the escalating tensions. In 1976, the New Hampshire sued Maine to resolve the lateral marine boundary. My eyes are getting bad. I'm getting old.
Well, that's all right. You can press Control, scroll, it makes it bigger.
Does it?
Yeah, press Control and then scroll on your mouse.
Oh, damn. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know all the tricks.
The states ultimately reached a consent judgment, which the Supreme Court entered in 1977 based on a 1740 royal decree. The states agreed that the boundary would follow the middle of the main channel of navigation of the Piscataqua River for 5 miles out to sea from Portsmouth Harbor.
If I recall correctly, this also has something to do with the Kittery and the Portsmouth Naval Base. See, here's the worst thing about me. I vaguely remember some of this stuff, and then by talking about it, I'm going to force you to look it up.
That's fine. What do you want me to look up?
No, you don't have to look it up.
All right.
But there was it an HR earlier this year, recognizing that the Portsmouth Naval Base is New Hampshire for income tax purposes, and that disagrees with Maine's interpretation.
Well, they want the tax.
Yes, they think that the Portsmouth Naval Base is in Maine. And it also disagrees with the Supreme Court because they've already said that the Portsmouth Naval Base is in Maine.
It says Portsmouth right on it, so.
Yes. And I remember the Republican, I voted with the rest of the Republicans on this because, one, it has absolutely no binding in law thing, and also go New Hampshire. But I remember Representative Glenn Bailey didn't agree. He voted against the Republicans and said, no, the Portsmouth Naval Yard is in Maine. This HR is state-affirming care. That's what he called it.
State-affirming care?
Yeah, or border-affirming care. That's what he called it. Yeah, he's a good guy.
So what do you got coming up as far as legislation do you think you'd be sponsoring?
I'm trying to avoid big hitters because I'm becoming a bit of a brand.
You don't like that?
Well,
because then you become a target?
Well, the thing is, so since I run the Liberty Caucus, I kind of have a responsibility to all the bills that are of importance to the Liberty Caucus. And if it's an important bill, like a really important bill, then what will end up happening is if I put forward any serious amount of effort in pushing it within the caucus, then it'll give the appearance of me using the caucus for personal gain. Whether or not that's actually true. So, for instance, in some cases, if I want to see something pass, or the Liberty Caucus in general wants to see something passed, it might be better for someone else to prime sponsor it at least. I'm more than happy to co-sponsor almost anything anybody sends me as long as it's not crazy. And I work to try to get as many bills for people in the caucus to pass as possible. But in order to avoid any appearance of badness, words fail me, badness, I'm trying to avoid taking on bills that are too high profile.
Who will come at you for something like that?
Oh, it's just petty bickering. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus by saying, that guy right there, he'll do it. But it's an impression thing. I don't want to give people the wrong impression. It's sort of like... if you're a Dewey attorney, it might be wise to also be sober. It's just a good idea.
So how many members are in the Liberty Caucus?
It's about 100, depending on how you count it. It's changed and grown and shrunk over time, but it's got very lax membership requirements. You just have to vote goodly.
Yeah.
And if you want to come hop in, you can come hop in.
Democrat or Republican?
Well, there ain't no such thing as a Democrat who votes goodly. So we do have one independent.
Okay.
That's Representative Plauché, if I'm pronouncing it. It's Plozaj. So however you pronounce that, I think it's Plauché. He's an independent, but he's a good vote. So,
do you spend a lot of time down at the State House when there's sessions?
Yeah, like the whole day.
Like the whole week? Some of these people.
No. I spend any day where there's a House session. I get there early and I leave.
How about committees and all that? What committees are you on?
I'm on the Labor Committee.
What do you do on the Labor Committee?
We mostly beat our heads against unions.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's not a very exciting committee. But I do go there. I do committee work and stuff, but a lot of the stuff actually happens on the back end, right? So you have the purpose of the time with the committee is for the people to come in and share their point of view.
Okay.
And that's incredibly important. Most of the people who come in to testify on a bill, a lot of times they have never been to the State House before. Therefore, you should give them your undivided attention and consider what they're saying seriously. Unless they're a lobbyist, then you can, take it with a grain of salt. But when it comes to the actual discussions between legislators, a lot of that just happens on the phone or in meetings and lunch breaks or whatever, and we just talk it out. Because sometimes there is an issue with a bill that doesn't have anything to do with the intent of a bill. So let me think if I can find an example. So there was a bill, HB 1336, I want to say in the last term. And what that bill was intended to do was to prevent colleges and hospitals from banning their employees from carrying firearms in their vehicle. So if you're an employer, you can say, okay, you can't bring guns onto the work site. Okay, you got to keep them in your car. But what these companies did was they started saying, no, you can't even have them in your car. And so the bill was intended to stop that. And so what they did was they made the language that they came up with would make it illegal for any employer to ban keeping firearms in your car. Well, that has some certain liberty implications, because if it's their parking lot, they should be able to say make the rules however they want on their own property. So once we discussed it and we figured out what they were actually going for, we just tabled the bill just so we could untable it later. And we hammered out an amendment that everyone agreed to that accomplished what they were going for while also taking care of the nitpicks that we had. And so that was basically saying that you cannot make such rules and say your employees are not allowed to have guns in their car if you're receiving a significant amount of taxpayer subsidies, such as the UNH system or the hospital systems or anybody else that's receiving taxpayer subsidies. And that's a good way to handle it, right? So if you're, a mom and pop shop and you want to say that your employees are not allowed to have guns in their car, okay, I don't like that, but whatever, it's your right. But hospitals, they're not exactly small mom and pop shops. They're very tied in with the government.
So when I see a sign on a hospital that says no firearms, I always thought that you had to abide by that.
I think it's a trespassing charge if you're caught.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could be wrong about that. I'm not a lawyer.
But it's not a gun charge. Huh.
I don't think so. I could be wrong. Look it up. And you don't have to actually look it up, but I don't know. I haven't personally looked into it, but I think it's trespassing and you get asked to leave.
I always wondered that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. So basically you try to avoid unintended consequences of the bill.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're going to carry into a hospital, just make sure that it's well concealed and you're not being awful. And remember that doctors can be and doctors and nurses, they can cause you a headache sometimes. So if you're going to be dealing with high stress situations, maybe it's better you left it at home.
If you're carrying in general, you probably just want to make sure nobody else knows you have it. That's the whole point of concealing it.
I'm a fan of IDGAF carry.
Yeah.
Which is you just assume that the people who notice won't care, and the people who care won't notice, which is generally generally a pretty wise way to go about it, because the people who actually care about whether or not you're carrying a pistol, they don't know if that's a cell phone holder or what. They're not paying that much attention to you. The people who will notice and know what that looks like are people who also carry.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Yep. I don't worry about shadowing too much.
Yeah.
Also, suit jackets are a great way to carry. You can carry a suit. You can carry anything under these things.
So you must carry in the state house.
Of course.
You don't have to. So they've tried to get rid
No,
of
they
that.
do. Yeah, I carry on the state house. I'm okay telling people that. Like usually at least 2. And there's actually an informal contest that we have to see how many people can carry, or who can carry the most guns without making it like really. Okay, that's a little bit much, So it's easy, right? So you could have like one on either hip, one in either pocket if you have 2 pocket guns, and then you can get just like a chest rig or something. And then you can have one under there, and then maybe like an ankle holster, and like that's a lot of guns, and you won't be showing off anything.
What's that movie? Thank You for Smoking. Do you remember that one?
That's a good movie. I don't.
When he has to go through the metal detector, and he has to take out all the guns.
It's gonna take a while. Okay, now I remember that scene. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
movie.
So. In January, they tried to change a house rule. Somebody tried to change house rules. Obviously, it was unsuccessful to not be able to carry guns in the state house.
Yeah,
does that happen
fails.
every January?
Yeah, that's like a requirement for them.
Yeah.
So if the Democrats have the majority, then that house rule will pass.
And what happens if you violate that?
Well, the House enforces its own rules. So I guess the first thing is you'll be asked to leave. Or something. I actually don't know because I've never been in when there's a Democrat majority.
Yeah.
I've been in during a tie, which is rather unusual.
How's that?
It's hell. But no, it was a pain. It left an impression on me. So your first term in the state house, you'll do your math, or at least for me, at least I do my math based on the assumption of a tie now.
Okay.
And so, because for the first 2 years I was in the state house, you assumed a tie, and you had to go and maneuver from that point of view. But now that we have, 40 people on them, you have like 224 or something like that. Like, we got a lot of wiggle room here.
That's good.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Imagine if we had more. Maybe we could pass right to work or something. That'd be cool.
Do you think we'll get more?
I'm not sure. This next term, we won't get the Trump bump.
Yeah.
So if you had asked me a week ago, I would have said it's going to be tough. We might lose a seat or 2. But I don't know. If the Dems keep playing a fool,
yeah.
I hate to see more political assassinations, but if they do, then that probably would result in a larger Republican turnout.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I tell Republicans all the time, never use the term red wave, except for me right then when I'm telling you not to use the term. Because if you can, so Republicans are generally if they're convinced that it doesn't matter if they vote or not and that it's in the bag,
they don't show up.
Yeah, why bother? It's in the bag. They don't need my vote.
But I feel like they think I feel like if it feels like they're gonna lose, they'll do the same thing. How do you motivate Republicans to go vote in a midterm? Why is it that Republicans?
It depends on who they are.
Yeah.
And when you're at the door, you don't usually have time to figure out, but you can probably just try to convince as many of them as possible and convince them of the need. Because when the Democrats had the trifecta last, they introduced like hundreds of new taxes and fees. We're still dealing with if you ever find like a weird rule or a weird law in the RSAs, look at the date and see if there was a Democrat majority at the time, and if so, it's probably crazy stuff. Especially after Obama, that was a really bad time for the Democrats to just be ruining things.
Yeah.
So even the most moderate Republicans, they'll still try to make sure that the budget is balanced at the end of the day. Whereas the Democrats, what they'll do is they'll intentionally make the budget unbalanced. That way they can justify new taxes.
Oh.
Yeah. Doesn't that sound fun? It's almost as though they actually want the government to fail.
They So I've been told that the budget in New Hampshire has to be balanced.
Yeah, it has to be. Otherwise, we go broke.
And right now, how are we doing as far as spending?
I think last I heard that the amount of revenue is actually lower than what we were expecting. So that's not good, but I don't know if it's dangerous.
What does the state do to make that up the following year? Does it just increase taxes, or I mean, obviously
we don't want to do that. We'll probably cut spending.
Cut spending.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. That's I don't want new taxes. I think that anybody who proposes such a thing is going to be hissed out of the room, rightfully. But I would be a fan of reducing spending. Is a solution to that.
I kind of wish the federal government had that rule.
Well, they have something called the Federal Reserve, and so they can print money, and we can't. That's the difference.
You did introduce legislation to. I got it on the list here.
Oh, you do? You got a list? Give me the list.
It's my list. It's my list of you.
I don't remember,
though. Establish gold and silver as legal tender.
I think I was a co-sponsor on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I also I prime sponsored something in a prior year to make it so that so this was during the if you remember in the last term there was some serious inflation during the Biden years.
I remember.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It's almost like they printed a gajillion dollars or something, and it took a while for the money to start slowly. But I was like, well, this would just allow people to be paid their weekly or biweekly wages in gold or silver if they were all on board. It faced a lot of pushback, and we were in a tied house, so it didn't make it through. But, yeah, I'm a bit of a gold bug.
You think they'll take another whack at that?
Yeah, there's some very interested organizations that want to see gold adoption in New Hampshire. So, for instance, and also on the technological front, we have gold-backed debit cards nowadays and things like that. So that means that if people want to have more wealth preservation and they want to have liquidity in their precious metals and they don't mind having their gold and silver at a bank of sorts, then that's an option for them now. So
it's kind of how it was before. That's what dollars were for.
Yeah. This would be based on, so the dollar value of your account would change depending on the price of gold. So
yeah,
that's interesting. I don't actually partake in it, but I observe it from a distance.
You'd enjoy it right now. Gold and silver is doing good.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good. But then the thing is, if gold and silver are doing good, then you don't want to spend it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you don't want to exchange it for worthless dollars.
Yeah, so it's incentives matter. We're not going to be able to fix the dollar at the state level, unfortunately. But we might be able to mitigate some of the worst effects of it.
Yeah.
It looks like inflation might be under control unless they lower interest rates, and then inflation will get crazy again. We'll see.
Is that what 3% right now?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Which, if you're just sitting on dollars, it still means your values, you're losing value.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think we'll ever fix the dollar? Or we'll ever fix our debt problem? We'll ever have a balanced budget on the federal level?
So this goes back to the saculum. I had the research done. I'm going to make up numbers that sound about right.
Okay.
Because I did actually have this figured out at one point, and I had had a whole chart that I made and all that. The typical length of time for a global reserve currency to last is about 87 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was, what was it? Spanish real? The Dutch? One of them lasted like 121 years, and that was an outlier. But we're due.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're at like 110 years that the dollar has been a world reserve, and because it was since World War I. If I recall correctly.
I want to say the Bretton Woods Agreement was the 50s, late 40s, early 50s.
But but other countries were backing their money in our money prior to that.
They might have been.
Gosh, you do all this research and then you look into this stuff and you learn it all and then you don't remember it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst thing.
In one ear and out the other.
Yeah. But yeah, it was because God, no, it would have to be World War II for that then, because the pound sterling, they stopped backing it in sterling and started backing it with dollars because they had to print money during World War II to beat the Germans.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, you can count on me, guys. I'll remember it.
What do you think will replace it?
I don't know, Bitcoin or something.
Yeah.
Probably not Bitcoin itself because it's not very liquid. Maybe some fiat currency backed by Bitcoin. I don't know.
That won't make any sense. It'll just be another fiat for another fiat.
Maybe. Well, it's hard to tell. It's the future. What's interesting is that for all my complaints about the dollar, every other currency is worse.
Yeah.
So
We're still the strongest.
yeah, by virtue of everyone dumbing their currency down quicker than ours.
Yeah.
Go us.
I think we've been lucky. I mean, we haven't seen a total collapse yet. So.
Yeah, not yet. We'll see. I don't turn to me for financial advice. I'm mostly just like, I don't know.
Join the army and get a VA loan.
Yeah, that worked out. Sometimes you get lucky, but yeah.
So what would you what do you say your biggest passion is as a state rep? What are your goals?
I want the GOP to be what it was before it was infected by the Trotskyists.
Okay. And what year was that?
That was like early 70s, late 60s.
Okay.
And the infection took a while to spread, and we're on the mend. I want to see I want to see the libertarian wing go of the Libertarian Party stop existing, and I want all those people to get into the GOP and learn how to hang out with these other people.
So what does the GOP before the Trotskyites look like?
Well, you had a party that ended slavery.
Mm-hmm.
You have a party that was formed to put an end to slavery and contain it to the South and then eventually get rid of it entirely. You have a party that is in line with American ideals and wants and is in favor of a more Republican form of governance, where the rights of the people are protected because we have a government that is constrained by a constitution and by precedents, and we have rule of law, and we don't just go with whatever is the most popular thing at the time. We temper that with old wisdom and try to keep things nice and comfy for a long time period.
So what is your argument for the libertarians that you want to bring into the tent?
Do you want to be pure, or do you want to actually make the world a better place? Because now I will say this: some of the libertarians, I don't think they wouldn't fit in. They don't have the social skills necessary. But some of them would, and I think that if you are capable of working with people who you don't agree with towards common goals where you can agree with them. And you're capable of respectfully disagreeing with those that may oppose you on certain things, but still keeping friends with them and realizing that in the broader sense you're still allies, then join the GOP. We'll take you. Do some work, run a table, knock doors, whatever you got to do, raise money, run a party, or like a shindig or something. But just remember that nobody's perfect, and there's that old joke. You put 10 libertarians in a room, how come they walk out with 11 different opinions?
I've never heard that joke.
Okay, well, you're hearing it for the first time now. The libertarians don't even agree with each other all the time.
Yeah.
So as much as they yearn for purity, they don't even have it in the LP. They don't have it among other libertarians. And so do you want to make the world a better place or no?
Do you think the Republican Party does?
No, because we're wicked, sinful people, and every last one of us is broken. So we're trying our best here. Hopefully divine providence leads us to a good future. But we're all various shades of wicked. So try your best. Work on trying to make the world a better place the best way you can, and do it with the GOP, because the other side, they actively want to make the world worse. So and also they hate you and they want you to be dead.
Do you think that the average Democrat does think that they're making the world worse, or do you think they're doing it with good intentions?
I think that they lie to themselves to the point where they think that they're doing a good thing through twisted logic, but deep down they know that it's really just greed and selfishness and brutality. So a lot of your listeners may not be religious, but if you do you know the difference between a theory and a fact?
Well, I would think I know. What can you divulge on that?
Electricians, there's an electrician theory of electricity and there's a physicist theory of electricity.
Okay.
And despite the fact that the physicists turned out to be wrong, and so they used to be the same theory, right? And then later, the physicists learned that the electrons actually go in the opposite direction. But positive and negative are already set up in electrical theory, and electricians to this day assume that electricity goes in the direction they originally thought it was all going in because it works. It's perfectly fine to use the theory. And there's similar stuff. So Newton had his theory of motion. It was wrong because Einstein got rid of it and replaced it with relativity, and then we got more nuanced understanding of how physics works since then. But it works as a theory, right? So people nowadays, they use Newtonian physics in their video game engines, and it looks perfectly reasonable, and that is pretty good at predicting an outcome. So I like to talk about the demon theory of evil.
Okay. This sounds interesting.
Yeah. If, let's say, that evil is some sort of external force that acts upon people if they're not protecting themselves from it and convinces them to do awful things, right? Then whether or not that's literally true and literally factual, if you can use this theory to predict how people behave and how things work, then it's a good theory. And so for maybe your non-religious listeners, if you think about the demon theory of evil, and when I say demons, just think in your head, oh, he means is in a theoretical sense, they're possessed by some sort of external force. Even if that's not literally true, it's just a theory to explain things, then hopefully that'll help them out. So I think that you have the bad people in the world and the Democrats and all that, and they're possessed. And I think I've already said that, but where were we going with this?
I asked if you thought that Democrats being evil, if they're doing what they're doing with the best of intentions.
Oh yes. I think that they are possessed, and they're being told comforting lies that we all are glad to accept. And people love lying to themselves. They hate the truth. Mm-hmm. And I think for most Democrats, whether they think they're doing good or not, I think they know that they're lying to themselves.
Are you a religious man?
Yeah.
How long have you been religious?
Like a couple years at least, like 3 or 4.
Yeah. How about before that?
Oh, I was just a generic atheist. I was like, oh well, I'm not really. I was respectful of it, and I wasn't hostile to it really, but I didn't think it was factually correct.
Mm-hmm. Given the current state of things, what do you think the correct response is to the Charlie Kirk assassination for Republicans? They're saying to tone down the rhetoric on both sides. As a religious man, what would Jesus tell us
We're supposed to forgive our enemies.
Pray for them.
And pray for them. I don't want a war.
No.
I want to give it a try to make it through this turning without a war.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'll succeed or not. It seems as though the Democrats are, but the thing with wars is a lot of times it's not up to you as to whether or not you have a war.
What can we do to try to prevent it?
Hope they don't go to war with us.
Mm-hmm.
So sort of like in Lord of the Rings, it's like, oh, I don't want to risk open war against Saruman. It's like, well, open war is upon you, Maybe in a couple months we'll look back and be like, yeah, open war was upon us. And,
I can't imagine what it would even look like, though. I mean,
who are they attacking?
Who are they attacking? Where are the lines drawn? They're going to be groups of people. Is it going to be like Ukraine?
Yeah, or maybe it'll be asymmetric. That would have a certain poetry to it, I guess, because the United States has been involved in asymmetric warfare in the Middle East for decades. And so if we suddenly started having an asymmetric war in our own backyard, then, well, maybe God thought we deserved a bit of our own medicine there. I don't know.
You think that other countries would jump right on that and start influencing certain groups?
Yeah, probably. I don't think there's any way for them to have any serious influence on the United States militarily unless the United States starts eating itself from the inside.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what would be happening in a civil war.
It would be. And I think a lot of people don't know this. They're so used to because in the last actual Civil War, there were battle lines. And Sherman had his people over here, and then he had this general over there, and there was the guy with the sideburns. What's his name? That general.
Grant.
Yeah. I think we're talking about someone different, but we'll go with that for the sake. But you actually had like classical battle formations and all that. But in asymmetric warfare, it's not like that. You have random pockets of terrorists acting like normal people, and then they go blow up a building or something. Or they take a pot shot at a celebrity. I don't think it... we'll see how it works because what they have in the Ukraine right now doesn't appear to be asymmetric warfare of the sort that we were facing in Iraq and Afghanistan. It appears to be typical in the sense of World War I, except with more horrendous weaponry, if you can believe, because there was some pretty horrendous weaponry in World War I. But, we'll see. I hope it doesn't happen because I don't like war very much.
No.
But, we might have some asymmetric warfare. It might be one of those things where they just, like, have terrorists going after specific people that they don't like, which isn't good for me because I'm a legislator. I'll probably have an X on my head.
Do you worry about your safety?
Nah.
Have you had any threats?
None that I care about. Like,
none that
I'm just not that worried
about.
Now, I will say other legislators have gotten a lot worse threats than I have. I think the worst I've had is like a few letters that were a little creepy, and I just threw them away. But there are some legislators that deal with fairly regular harassment. So I'm lucky to have avoided that. I don't know how. But, there was... what happens, happens.
Yeah.
If I die, I die.
Very brave of you.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't know. I think I think one thing we need to remember is that this dude that shot Charlie Kirk was one guy.
Yeah.
What we need to know is whether or not he was attached to any other groups.
Yep, and I don't know the answer to that question.
No, and I've seen reports that he was, but then I've seen it said that wasn't true. So,
and you know what the thing is? It's an epistemological question. How do you know they're telling you the truth?
I know.
You're kind of just winging it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. When if there's an actual remember right after he got shot, everyone was trying to figure out collectively, like, okay, is he alive or is he dead?
Right.
And that went on for about 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That amount of confusion was like, but this guy says he's still alive. But this guy says he's still dead. And this one's confirmed it or whatever. Okay, that'll be your whole life if we have like a shooting war.
Mm-hmm.
Your whole life will be like, we got just this lie over here, this guy over here. Which one are you going to trust, and which one actually knows it, and which one's giving a rumor and that they heard and isn't actually true, and which was true back when they heard it but isn't true now. The fog of war is something that most Americans aren't very familiar with, and let's hope it stays that way because the amount of confusion that would just make up your daily life, peppered in with occasional random bits of violence, would be something that we would want to steer clear of.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's some people might have a sensationalization viewpoint of like a civil war.
Yeah, they think it's going to be like, oh, yes. I will say that one side is probably a lot better equipped for a civil war than the other.
Which one do you? Yeah. Well, I mean,
we already know. I'm looking at the camera so I can say you already know which side would probably win.
But I think what we would probably see is like more political assassinations, and then probably just the states would break up. We would see certain sections of the country unify. Right? And
well, that wouldn't be very good.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be awful.
But what percentage of California votes Republican?
It's a majority of it, isn't it?
Well, the majority land-wise, yes. But,
Yeah.
I don't actually know the answer to this, but
I don't know either.
I imagine it's not 10%.
No.
It's probably a lot more than that.
Let's look.
Yeah, you can look it up. But suffice to say, how when those states start splitting up, how are they going to be splitting up with captives?
I know.
So in the Revolutionary War, the Loyalists all moved to Canada for the most part. So maybe that'll happen. But I don't think it's
38%.
Okay. So that's not a small number. It's over 1 in every 3rd votes Republican, and probably wouldn't like to be a hostage to a free California Republic or whatever. Free California democracy. People's whatever, they'll have the 2-headed bear as a flag.
Oh, I don't know about Vermont, but if you look at New Hampshire and Maine, northern New Hampshire and northern Maine are red.
Yeah.
You know, so would you have Portland south or the coastline essentially, and then the same thing with New Hampshire? I mean,
I don't think so.
No.
Because historically, nations don't redraw lines. You were just looking at the lobster thing. It was like based on a precedent from 1740.
Yeah.
Like, so they don't like to redraw lines unless there's a historical precedent for that line being there in the first place. I don't think the United States is breaking up, and if it does break up, it's a disaster.
I don't think it's breaking up either. I really don't think we're going to see a civil war.
I hope not.
I think we're going to probably see some political violence
at
some point, because it seems like it's been escalated. Yeah. I mean, somebody took a shot at Trump.
Yeah. That was a miracle.
Yeah.
I've never there is no, that's just defies logic how that shot went the way it did.
He just moved his head at the right time.
Yeah, bunk. Got his ear. Got the least likely to be destroyed part. Is like he went and got his ear pierced. Like, it's like, that's a miracle.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. So, yeah, I don't know. We're talking about the future, but we have absolutely no clue. But you, listening at home, you already know what happens, don't you?
So what about the present, then? What do we do in the present?
Well, you got to feed your chickens.
Yeah.
You got to do that. I gotta work on closing this home deal. You have to take care of your family. You got to go to work. You got to earn an income. You got to prepare for winter. Winter is coming up, so do that stuff.
These are the things that people should be worried about. I think the majority of Americans are.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens, and we don't really control it. People think the government is very powerful and that we can just do stuff, and you can just do stuff, but you really can't control what other people do. You just have to accept that they'll do whatever they do.
Mm-hmm.
And hope for the best.
Yeah. So what are your future plans, since we're talking about the present now? What is Michael Granger? What are your are you going to run again?
Probably.
Yeah.
I like being I didn't expect to have this much fun doing this.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, you probably talk to other state reps who are like, I'm getting sick of this job, because it doesn't pay very much, and also it's a lot of work. I actually enjoy it. I didn't expect to have nearly this much fun, but hey, it's like a safe, controlled exercise in it's like sports. It's like playing in sports, except I can do it from a chair.
What's your favorite part?
Oh, whenever there's a really big vote, and it got we win by 1 vote or something.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's and that's really exciting.
What's your least favorite part?
When we lose.
Mm-hmm.
I like winning and I hate losing. But
what do you think your biggest upset's been?
The biggest upset this year was right to work.
Okay.
Although we kind of knew that we were going to lose that vote from the get-go.
Did you?
Well, getting towards the time of the vote, we're like, we're probably going to lose this, aren't we? Oh, well.
What was the losing? Why did it lose?
Unions. Union Republicans who like the unions.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't like unions.
Can you explain to people why?
because if you look at so I talked about the demon-possessed lefties.
Yeah.
There is a group of lefties that are more sane than the rest. So you take like the typical climate activist, they're not capable of running a party. They don't have the wherewithal to be a community leader, right? You look at some of the people whose primary motivation is to kill babies, and they don't have it in them to be a leader. The people on the left who are capable of running the Democrats effectively are the unionists, because they're totally sane, rational people who are trying to make a buck. You know, why are they a legislator in the first place? Well, so they can increase the power of the unions. Why? So they can have more money. It's very straightforward. There's nothing insane about that at all. So the unions run the left. And if there is a left-wing bill, I'll give you an example. There were environmentalists on the left who were opposed to a new tax on carbon credit farms, right? And so they were expressing that they didn't like HB 123, which was a bill to tax tree farms that didn't cut down their trees to harvest carbon credits.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to disincentivize carbon credit production. But the unions wanted more tax money for municipalities. So the unions won, and the Democrats all voted in favor of HB 123 despite the environmental pushback. What does that tell you? It means the unionists are bossing around the environmentalists.
Oh.
So even though the Democrats will run on environmental issues, the unions actually run the show.
Wow.
And that makes sense because, as I said, of the various cliques and groups in the Democrats, the unionists are the only ones that actually are doing it for rational reasons.
Okay.
They're the brains of the operation.
Wow. So we've had a lot of talk on here about Democrats. So is your religious views what drive your ideological views?
Yeah, they're in cahoots.
And has finding religion been the what has pushed that?
Well, I mean, if I didn't have religion before, I just had ideology, so they kind of have to go in. You have to try to be consistent somehow.
So do you think that from becoming a anarchist, libertarian, Republican, you said that you were an atheist before, probably when you were an anarchist, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Atheist when you were a libertarian? Or do you think you started finding religion around that time?
I don't know if there's a direct correlation.
Is there any philosophical works other than the Bible that have...
I like C.S. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis?
Yeah, because I'll say this. When I was reading the Screw Tape Letters, are you familiar with it?
No.
Well, the Screw Tape Letters is a book. It's a series of letters in book format from one devil to a student disciple devil on how to best corrupt mortals.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. And the thing is, it keeps like saying, it keeps providing a devil's point of view on your personal moral failings and how they would exploit that. It's like, oh yes, make sure that he spends all his time and energy doing X, Y, Z, and don't say that something's wrong. Say that it's fierce, or something's right. It's brave. Give other adjectives to it and stuff like that. And if you read that book, you start realizing it's talking about you because you make all those dumb mistakes. And so that was a fun book because we have a good way humans are pretty good at tricking themselves. And that book is a good explanation of how we ended up tricking ourselves. So I like C.S. Lewis.
You think we trick ourselves with comforting lies?
Yeah. Those are the best lies.
Yeah. Instead of,
just accepting the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dealing with reality on a reality's terms is a better definition of sanity than any you'll probably likely come across. If you demand that if you look at the universe, the unchanging universe, and say that it must conform to your whims, then
you're not gonna win.
You're not gonna win. But people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, if I put on a skirt and call myself Sally, that means I'm a chick.
If we just pass a law, then we can change things.
Well, I mean, sometimes you can. Depends on what it is.
Well.
And sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
It depends. And if you pass a law and it doesn't change anything, then you have to concede that reality beats you.
I don't think that we do that sometimes.
What do you mean?
That we don't concede that things aren't working. Like,
yeah.
Look at the ACA, for example. Like, Medicaid is expanded more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Healthcare is getting worse and worse, it seems like.
Yeah, it's like there's this contest between the insurers and the doctors that they're like gambling with each other to see who could make things more expensive.
Yeah.
Because if they lose, then they lose money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you know who pays at the end?
Us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't participate in the regular healthcare system.
No.
Yeah, I have a direct primary care doctor and
Pay
I go
out of
through a
pocket.
Christian health industry, Christian health share.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard of those before.
Yeah, they're great.
So how does that work?
Well, so you chip in, and if you have medical bills, they chip in.
Okay.
So it's basically just sharing each other's stuff, and instead of being an insurance company that like invests in it, so typically and more realistically, let's say that sometimes I get vertigo because there's crystals in your ears and they get misaligned.
Okay.
That's how supposedly vertigo goes about. And what you do is you can go to urgent care and they'll like start whipping around your head to realign the crystals. And let's say it's like $100. I can pay $100 cash, and then I just give the bill to the health share. And if it meets whatever thresholds or whatever that we have set up in the agreement, they pay for it. Now, I guess this is a bad example because $100 isn't likely to hit those thresholds, but if you have a maternity incident, that will. And so you pay for everything, and if you can't pay for it, if the medical provider is okay with waiting for you to get the health share to pay them back, then just send the bills over to the health share and they'll pay it back.
Is it expensive? Like on a monthly?
No, it depends. Like so, for instance, we just made some changes to it, so so with Christian Health Ministries, which I have which I can get you a link that will allow you to sign up. It's like $85 per unit for the bronze tier.
It's a promo code Granger.
Yeah, something like that. No, but yeah, hit me up. Anybody who has me on Signal wants to buy this, I guess. But I don't. But so it's like $85 per unit. So your kids are one unit, and every adult is a second unit.
Okay.
And so that's for the bronze tier. Okay, and so but we put my wife on gold tier because gold tier comes with the full maternity package, and that's like $250 just for her. So I don't know. So 85 plus 85 plus 250. That's basically what we're looking at. It's like 400 something, 450. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Which isn't bad for a month.
No, perfectly reasonable. I think they save costs by no smokers. They don't cover abortions or anything that like. So for instance, they won't cover genetic testing for abortions.
Yeah.
I don't think they do I don't think they do liposuction. No plastic surgery or stuff like that unless there's like a medical need.
So no trans surgeries then.
I would suspect not. But yeah, sometimes I guess that probably comes across like gray areas and whatever. But yeah, in general, since they take all that stuff out and only focus on things that are medically necessary, and
those genetic tests for those genetic tests that they do, those are strange. The ones that they do for you when your wife's first pregnant,
mm-hmm.
Because they're basically trying to find out whether or not it's viable.
Yeah, they want to know if they can give it an abortion or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I don't think that the health share pays for that.
How I understand why.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of abortion. I think it should be like people shouldn't do that.
So are you for an outright ban on it?
Yeah. I don't think we can get away with that. We don't have the votes.
No.
But I would support an outright ban on abortion because I think it's just straight murder.
Yeah.
Babies are people too.
Yeah.
Because I think about it. Like you have a baby that's like born at 6 months prematurely, and they're surviving now.
And that's what our abortion law is in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah. So after it's up to the 6 months.
24 weeks.
Yeah. And some states they do it in the third trimester. Now, most people even most pro-choice people support bans in the third trimester because the baby's basically done cooking. They're just, they're just working on the crusty outer shell.
Yeah, because there's no real medical situation where you'd have to abort a third trimester baby.
Yeah, it's just a convenience thing for a lot.
But some people do support third trimester abortions.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the thing that people I don't think realize is that there's a dehumanization factor for abortion. You
Yeah.
have to. That's why
It's not a baby. It's a fetus.
It's a fetus. Yeah, it's a clump of
Clump
cells.
of cells.
Yeah,
You're a clump of cells.
right. We're all clumps of cells.
Yeah, that's what we're made of. And that goes into it's back into the Charlie Kirk thing. When they call you a fascist, it's another dehumanizing factor. It's hard to kill things without dehumanizing them first.
Mm-hmm.
And but the thing is, the regret still lingers. It's almost as though you know that you're lying to yourself. We're all just wrapped. It's all wrapped into each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a spaghetti ball.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the thing people are arguing for these. Not that people are arguing, but a lot of the arguments you see about Charlie Kirk is that people are saying that he was he was anti-abortion, so that was one of the reasons why he wasn't a good person, and I wonder how many of these people have actually listened to his arguments.
If they think Charlie Kirk was so evil, they'll do the same to you.
There.
Here we are again.
We're back. All right. Sorry about that.
Kicking stuff.
No, I just forgot to plug it in.
Oh, okay.
The battery died.
Oh, all right. I don't know how this works.
Yeah. All right. What do you think people should be doing politically? Do you think that we should be you want to bring in people into the Republican Party from the libertarian side of it?
And elsewhere.
In independence.
Yeah.
So how, to extend an olive branch, how would we bring Democrats over to our side?
I kind of don't. I'd rather them not join our party.
Is there any way to kind of get them? Is there an argument or a case to make to them that you think would ever change their minds?
I think that since the problem is largely demonic, they need to get themselves to a church.
Yeah.
And that'll hopefully fix them up, but not like a Universalist Unitarian church, like a real church.
So do you have any social media that you'd like to plug?
People can find me on Twitter, Granger, the number 4, New Hampshire. That's Granger with no I. There is no I in Granger.
There's no
but I am the Granger.
Is it Granger or Granger?
I can't hear the difference.
You can't?
Granger.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on. It's been fun talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
And if you ever want to come back and talk about any legislation you're putting forward or any sort of agenda you want to promote, you're always welcome.
Okay.
All right.
Fight the New World Order, everyone.
Thank you.
Yep. See ya.